I was hoping you couldn't hear the cat. I'm sorry. It's my roommate's cat. Okay. 11Q and question mark. Okay, so 2 stones jumps 3. And you want to be on the 3rd line on your opponent's side of the board, probably until 5Q. And this is because it makes the middle game a lot easier if you have a base, a solid foundation. And 2 stones can jump over 3 because thanks to this stone, we can actually trap this invasion stone. So these 3 stones are trapped thanks to our little friend right here. So that is why it can go 1 space further than the other one. But 3rd line for safety, 4th line for developing. So the 4th line says, I want to play in this area here, but it says, I don't really mind if I lose the base. And that's very dangerous to not have a base when fighting in the middle game. It's very delicate. Okay. This is too soon. There's still an open side. So open side, and then you can worry about largest framework. If you're going to invade, the center is actually the worst spot to play. So if you have A, B, C, D, E, and F, the C is the worst one because it has the least base potential. So if a base is I play a stone and then I'm jumping here or here, I'm jumping for that I space. If you play in the center, the jump here is a touch and the jump here is a armpit hit. So it's actually the worst jump. Versus if you play like here and they block, you can jump and make 1 eye. If you play here, then you are leaving the potential to jump back and make 1 eye. So B and D are the more natural moves. A and F touching moves are possible for invasions. I usually say wait until single digit Q to work on those, but it's up to you how comfortable you feel, but they lead to a lot more reading heavy battles. So A and F are possible if you have confidence in your reading. So I would say D is going to be the simplest one. And this is because B is already penciled on the 3rd line, where D has potential to slide for another eye. So now when they take your base and you run, you do have a slide potential for half an eye right there. So that would be the simplest idea to execute here. E is almost always bad. No, like armpit is the worst move I think that you can do, aside from like the center move. I mean, and this is because the double Hane Tasuji makes these stones like I would rather these stones be dead, kind of. To the point I'm like, I want to sacrifice them if I can, because I hate these stones because they have low liberties. They're getting surrounded. They have 0 point value. It's really nasty value. So I think D is probably the simple idea here. Ooh, very neat idea. You want to surround and make influence. It's a very nice way to play with the star point. You're going to get cut, though, so you got to be careful of K3. But as long as you're watching that, should be possible. Okay, blocking your base in the corner, and okay, fixing your cutting. That's very nice. However, you can keep surrounding maybe here or here. Probably here is the simplest. And that is because this one is a ladder, so it's actually not a cutting point. So that is one thing that you need to keep in mind. I think you are probably reading something like this and it looks scary, but it's actually very easy ladder. And even this one, it's trapped. However, there's sometimes moves like this that can get scary. But I think it's okay. Don't worry too much about it. You're the attacker. So as long as you're not going to get cut from everything, I think it's okay to just keep up the pressure. Black, you want to run away as fast as you can, because getting surrounded is a lot of value. Okay, can you take him out? Thank you. Okay. White, you want to keep up with your previous plan of surrounding. Letting them live on the 2nd line is perfectly fine because it is very valuable to get the influence. A good way to think about the influence is give yourself 2 points in your mind for every stone of influence that you have. Okay, so this is already 10 points, maybe 12. plus the cash you get. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Generously 7, 8, 9. These are questionable points. Oh, I forgot. OGS has this new thing now. They're there, they're there, they're there, they're there, they're there. They're there. These 3 are possibly points. I want to say they are, but maybe they are, maybe they're not. And then black gets 1 point at a time, and you don't count the edge because that may be lost later. 1 point. So let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8 for black. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21. So 21 for white and 8 for black. So quite a bit different in value. And this is why surrounding things is very, very good, because it's very profitable, very valuable. We don't even care if black lives. We actually want black to live. Killing black is gote, and then there's a lot of aji that your opponent can use. But if black lives, then we have a lot of the sente moves, and we get all the profit. Okay, so surrounding is very important. This looks like it's surrounding. I'm very nervous, though, because you have a large knight, which has a cutting point. Now you have a small knight, which has a cutting point, and you have the Hane, which has a cutting point. So now you have 3 cutting points on the whole string. So 3 cutting points makes me nervous. Oh, not as much as tanukiing a dying group. Okay, so this is a key thing. This is actually something I found a lot of players struggle with, is they'll do a lot of life and death problems, but then they'll constantly die. And they're like, okay, life and death problems don't do anything. Life and death problems are not helping me. Or they're thinking that they're good at life and death because they do lots of life and death problems, but if you're not applying it, then it doesn't matter how many life and death problems you do. The application timing is when a group is surrounded, you need to solve the life and death problem on the inside. Okay, so it's fine to know if it's 1 or 2 eyes when you're running away. It's nice to keep track, but your goal is still to run away. Once it gets surrounded, it is a life and death problem that has an answer. There is no shortcut. It is only reading. Once it's surrounded, it is a go problem. It's only reading. There is no shortcut. There is no basic. You just have to read it out and know what the answer is. So ignoring a group means that you have solved this problem in here and you are 100% okay with its life and death. In other words, you think it's alive. I don't think it's perfectly alive, because if we just like look at the borders already, it's getting close to a Seki shape, and that's assuming I don't do anything else. This is what's getting me, is this Panuki right here, because I want to do this, but I also want to do this. I wonder if I can somehow... I guess it's a Seki. Oh, no, that's alive. Never mind, sorry. So I just go there. And that's also a Seki. It's actually a Gote Seki for white, because black and Tanuki, I think. Is there anything else I can do? If I go here, you go here. That's a bulky 5, but if you do that, you have an eye right there. Maybe black is alive. That'd be pretty impressive if you read all that. I'm not confident. Life and death is not my strong suit, but to me it looks pretty close to death. But with that being said, I am very confident I could escape as black through the cutting points. So I think you could have bullied the cutting points a little bit. Regardless, if you ignored, I want to see you prove it. And white, when your opponent ignores a life and death problem, make them show you that they know how to live. Because all of this is profit. Everything that you play is getting you a point, getting a point. As long as you don't play the Vita point, you don't lose anything. So make them prove that they're alive. Because a lot of the times they didn't read it. A lot of the times they'll just ignore and assume they're alive. When you start poking the eyes out, they're like, oh crap, I'm gonna die. And then they do something crazy and die even bigger. So make sure that they prove that they can live. And then right before you play the Vita point, you need to solve it. So you actually don't have to solve it before this point. You just need to make sure that your moves are sente, and it's up to them to solve it. But once you go for the Vita point, you need to solve it because at that point is the only time you start losing points if you're wrong. So you can do 1 and 3 probably for free and then go play wherever you wanted to play as long as your opponent proves that they know how to live here. But always make them prove it. I want to fix my cutting points. I'm a big fan of fixing cutting points. There's no perfect way to fix every cutting point, is there? I guess just here's the best. There's this annoying stuff right here, but I want to say you're okay. And then if black tries to break out right here, should be okay as long as your 1 is okay. The other option is to check here and make sure there's no nose to Suji. I don't think there is. If I go here first and then clamp, I want to say, okay, this is a cutting point. Yeah, it looks like 2, 4 is the way to play this. That's a very expensive escape route, though. Panukis in the center are very expensive. Yeah, I want to say this one's okay. Should fix most of it. Okay, this is fine for an opening move. This is perfectly fine, but cutting points have priority. Black, I would if you say you're alive, I would see if I can just cut right here. Because if you can cut right here with no consequence, then anything you do in this area is going to attack. So this one is nice value. So it's threatening the cutting point. So maybe it's okay. But I really like cutting things. Cutting things is very valuable. I don't like this. Now we're going to get in a lot of trouble. So imagine you have to start making life here, right? But remember, there's still a cutting point here as well. So now you have 2 weak groups. Yeah, now you're in a lot of trouble. This is why we don't leave cutting points laying around. In addition to that, black can still attack this stone and then also use this now influence. Imagine this exists because black can get this whenever they want to attack this cutting point. All of this to attack this cutting point if black so chooses. So I don't know if I would do this. I think this is not really valuable. It doesn't really do anything. So I think I would rather play on the left here or here, or maybe even here. Try to make this corner a little bit less valuable. But I think at the end of the day, fixing your cuts is going to be the basic idea. Okay, fix your base. You extended a 4-space jump. That is not a base. So your opponent has taken your base on this side. So now you need to make the base on that side. Otherwise, your opponent can invade while attacking you. So your opponent will have the initiative in this area, and you don't want them to have that. So you have to fix your own move. Otherwise, don't play the move in the first place. 3 space is fine, but this is a pretty advanced sequence, I think, because if black just plays a stoner here, I'm not sure that you know what to do, because this gets pretty complicated very quickly. If ever your opponent plays a 3 space or a 4 space, throw a stone in. Even if you don't know what to do, throw a stone in, and then just leave it alone. If you don't know what to do, leave it alone. You lose 1 stone, and your opponent's got a huge headache. And a lot of the time, your opponent will waste an extra move to kill it. Sometimes you'll get 2 moves for it, 2 moves in a row. So you sacrifice 1 stone, and your opponent gets a chicken move, and you get another move on the board. So it's like a whole handicap stone from just throwing the stone in here and sacrificing it. You will, a lot of the time, will get a handicap stone. Because your opponent gets so scared of this move. They play the 3-space jump, but then they don't know what to do with it. And then they'll go crazy trying to kill the stone. You're just like, okay, I don't mind. Just kill it. Just kill it. I don't care. Just kill it. I don't care. And then I'll go get another move. So you get all that for free. So this stone is very, very valuable, even if you don't know how to run away with it. Even if you don't know here or here. You can still sacrifice it and it's still pretty valuable. Okay. I'll go ahead and show this. Sometimes this is good. It looks like it might be good on this board. If you place a stone right here and then immediately sacrifice it, you fix all of the 3/3 Aji in this corner. This is only useful when you really need the corner to be your eyes. And in this board, I think the star point needs the corner for the eyes. So I think on this board, 3, 4, 5, 3 and 5 should be very helpful to this corner. So now would be a good time to play this. Most of the time it's not good because the attacking potential on the outside is just too valuable. A lot of the times the outside stuff is too valuable to just give your opponent perfect shape. But in this board, it might be good. So always remember that this option exists if you need it. Okay. If you're going to pressure, I would put max pressure. I would threaten that 3 space as much as I can. But honestly, the big key here is like attack and defense-wise, the cutting points are everything. If you don't know the cutting points, you really don't know how to play attack and defense. So if you're just exchanging big moves, it's going to be really hard to gain a lead because Go is a profit game. It's not about making points. It's about making profit. Kind of like money. It doesn't really matter how much money you have if your debt is just as much. I would rather have like $1,000 in cash than $10,000 and then $10,000 of debt because it just cancels it out. So Go is the same thing. You want profit. You don't want points. You want profit. You're in the opening and stuff. You're actually spreading out to build a position to fight with. You're trying to have a solid foundation and then you want to attack something. Attacking is the most profitable thing that we can do in Go because it forces them to respond and they make a 0-point move, you make a 1-point move. And every single move that we can keep up the attack, we get another point profit, another point profit, another point profit. So attacking is the most valuable thing. So a lot of the time what you're doing is you're setting up positions to attack something. But if all you're doing is just trying to make territory everywhere, you make territory, your opponent makes territory, and you never actually attack anything, you're never going to really gain a lead unless you just are better at making territory. And yeah, that's possible. At some point, you're going to get better at it compared to your opponent. But it'll be a lot easier to win your games if you're attacking for profit versus trying to just make territory and nothing else. Trying to cut is a good idea. This one's a little much. I think this is going to start affecting the life and death in the corner that you probably didn't read. I'm going to make that assumption. Usually with my students, they'll think that they're alive, but they didn't actually read it fully. They think they did. They only read like 4 moves, though. So we'll see how this plays out. White, we're still not making black prove it. I really want to see if black knows it or not. I'm really curious. This is good to go into this square. But I thought we were in the middle of something. Yeah, this right here is annoying for white. If black gets a stone right here or right here, like that's a lot of value. I don't know if it's the biggest thing to do right now though. What if I go right here? White has to fix this way, because if white fixes this way, then I can cut stuff. I don't think this does much. I'm really not sure how much life and death black is reading here though. Honestly, the big thing that I want is this cutting point. This cutting point is so juicy. I just want that cutting point. White, just fix. This is base, cash, and everything. Everything's connected. Everything has a base. Everything's alive, and that's all cash. And all you traded for all that cash was like 5 points. So you get like 10 points right here for 5. So I think it's a good exchange rate. If you go right here, if you're getting more than me, I'm just going to destroy both. Like, you destroy mine, I destroy yours. That's an even exchange. If I build and you have more, that's a negative exchange. So I'm just going to go destroy yours. I'm out of time for this one, so hopefully you both found that helpful.